Ah, good afternoon from beautiful downtown Crestline in the San Bernardino Mountains of Southern California's Inland Empire. I'm exhausted after attending the Philip K. Dick Festival in Fort Morgan, Colorado, where my late ex-husband lies at rest next to his twin sister, Jane. Oh, wow. I'm tired. But I did promise to come on live. So here I am. Oh, boy. Well, first, the festival organizers made it possible for me to attend by paying for airfare and a hotel room. Good afternoon, Peter. Glad to see you in chat. Oh, I'm tired. Also, my friend Brenda, whom I met playing Scrabble on Facebook, went with me, kept me from going totally nuts because I don't travel well, and I especially don't do well in crowds. For example, crammed into a crowded jet, a small metal tube with tiny seats that no normal human being can fit into. But after 6 hours of weather delays, we finally dragged into Denver Airport at, I don't know, 9 or 9:30 at night. Picked up our rental car and got to the hotel around 10:30. Thank God the Best Western in Fort Morgan, Colorado has free coffee 24 hours a day, every day, and a free breakfast, real breakfast every morning from 6 a.m. to 9:30. And in the evenings, they put out snacks in the lobby, a different set of snacks every day. I think it was Friday they put out freshly made cookies from their kitchen. Was And then Saturday they had a variety of things. I forget what. And then on Sunday, yeah, Saturday had to be the hard day. We checked out at 11 in the morning after a nice breakfast. Best Western is striving to be more than a hotel, more than a motel. They could rival some of the high-end hotels. I cannot say the same about Fox rental cars. We didn't check for reviews before Brenda booked a rental car. Okay. Hi, Oswald. Yes, Phil is buried in Fort Morgan because that's where his twin sister was buried when she died as an infant. Their father, Joseph Edgar Dick, who went by Edgar, bought the gravesite and the headstone when Jane died. And um, Edgar had brothers, and nieces and nephews living in Fort Morgan, and he had planned to live there with his wife Dorothy and their child Philip K. Dick. But Dorothy left him and moved to Berkeley, California. So Edgar moved to that little town next to Stanford in Northern California. Menlo Park, Menlo. When I first heard that, I thought he lived in New Jersey, where Nikola Tesla, was it him or Edison, the Wizard of Menlo Park? Let me look that up and be sure. I'm pretty sure it was Tesla, but it might have been Edison. Wizard of Menlo Park. Oh, it's stinking Thomas Edison, who stole all of Tesla's work. Okay, I thought he was in New Jersey, but it's actually Northern California near Stanford University, which of course is in Stanford. Oh, coffee. Well, anyway, Thursday night, all went well. We slept well, got our breakfast in the little dining room. It's self serve, but there are people there who will help you answer questions, get something from the kitchen. If, for example, when they were out of cinnamon rolls, I asked if they had any in the kitchen and they brought one. And you can bus your own table, but they will do it for you. Friday, 8:45 a.m., we attended a lecture by Ted Hand about The Man in the High Castle, the book, not the movie, mostly. And he was followed by Andrew Butler showing us artwork by, oh, come on, the guy who painted The Scream. Geez, I'm tired. I know his name. Okay. The Scream. Edvard Munch. Yeah. So let's I do believe that I am allowed to post links in my chat room. Come on. Evil thing. Come on. Okay, let's see if I can get an actual link. Here we go. In case you want to see Edvard Munch's painting. Munch is Munch. And it isn't even French, but it still doesn't have to make sense. Well, anyway, he focused on that painting, but he showed other works by Edvard Munch and talked about its relationship to Philip K. Dick's experiences. By the way, this was the second festival. The first one was 2.5 years ago and began on the second day of March to coincide with the official date of Phil's death, although many would argue that he was brain dead before that, about a week earlier, before they unplugged the life support on the second day of March. Then we got treated to an art show at the Case Gallery. Well, first we had an hour for lunch, but then we went to the Art Gallery, CACE Community something Art Gallery, which is a really nice place. And Brent Hutsenga uh, talked about his artwork. And of course, my phone rang and I had to take the call. So I had to run upstairs. The gallery was in the basement. I had to run upstairs and take the phone call. Oh, your dog ate your homework? Poor Oswald, somebody's dog ate his print of the scream. Well, then we had a Skype presentation. Sean Nye, who is focused on Phil's taste in music, couldn't attend. He had a schedule conflict, so he came to us by Skype discussing Phil's music. In other words, the music Phil loved to listen to, which, by the way, ranged from Bach and Beethoven to Jimi Hendrix and Janis Joplin, Pat Benatar, Brian Eno, and the guy whose name I never remember, but he played music on a 30-foot wire. That was interesting, but when Phil played whale music, I didn't like that at all. But Phil was focused on the idea that the music on the 30-foot wire sounded a lot like California gray whales singing to each other. Um, Early PKD show and tell with Frank Hollander. I missed, I must have missed that. Or maybe I was there, but I don't remember. And then an art exhibit, The Fool's Journey of Philip K. Dick, with Chris Wilkie and Ted Hand. The artwork at this festival was awesome, and there was a lot of it. You can see some of it in the videos that I put on Facebook. I didn't do much on YouTube because YouTube would not let me go live on my portable device. So all I covered on YouTube was the graveside ceremony. However, there's tons of stuff on Facebook. And then we had the little fanfare. We sold books, buttons, art. I had a dozen books to sell, and I sold them all. Signed, of course, signed by the author. And by the way, Oswald, you can get another print of the Scream, or if you're really tech savvy and enterprising, you can print it off the internet. And then, beginning at 7:30, we were at the Riverside Cemetery in Fort Morgan, where Phil was buried next to his sister and among various of his relatives, grandmothers, grandfathers, etc. And I'm pretty sure that his father Edgar is buried there, but I just don't remember. Anyway, we were there with a live musician who was told, well, we can't afford to pay you. And he said, that's okay, I just want to do it. So he arrived in a white hearse that he uses to haul his equipment around. It was quite appropriate at a cemetery. And you'd think I'd remember his name, but I don't. Um, you can ask, let's see, the organizers. Cameron, I think his last name is Mitchell. Henri, that's like Henry with ends in I instead of Y. Henri Wintz of Wide Books, one of the major sponsors of the festival, and he was there. Or David, oh come on, the Lord Running Clam himself, the Ganymedian slime mold from Phil's books. Um, David, Dave, oh, see, I'm really out of it. Hi there, kitty cat. My little kitty cat is, uh, well, cats don't beg, so I guess she's demanding service. She wants treats. What you want, sweetie pie? Where are you, kitty cat? There you are. Right here. There you go. Good kitty. Yes. Um, David Hyde, Hyde. You can ask them who the musician was. He also appeared at the Saturday night dinner, which pretty much ended the festival. And he did get paid for that out of what we paid to have dinner there. Um, you know, we paid $30 each for dinner, and what didn't go to the restaurant went to the musicians. We had Dan Allen with his music, but we also had the other guy whose name I can't remember. Anyway, let's see. We began with Doug Mackey's speech Saturday morning, but I have to tell you about Friday night first. So, a little after 10, everything ended. The storm was rolling in, the same storm that had delayed our flight to Denver the day before. Um, we went out to the street where our rental car was parked, and Brenda and I were kind of slow. Hello there. I'm live on YouTube. You'll have to wait while I get my groceries. YouTube. Yeah, listen. Oh, wow. Thank you. Want some bags? Got my cobbler. Cobbler? Blackberry cobbler. Okay. Sorry about that. Cash groceries, just coffee this time, and a bag of sugar for jam making. And she forgot my blackberry cobbler. She picked a bunch of my blackberries while I was away, but she also fed my cat while I was away. Okay, so Friday night, little after 10, we go out to get in the rental car and drive to the hotel. The door, the driver's door was wide open and would not shut because someone had bashed it in and taken off, and we didn't hear a thing because of the loud live music. So there's no witnesses. We don't know exactly when it happened. Anyway, at least it was a rental car and not one of our own vehicles. But it didn't look like an accident. It was not sideswiped. There would there would have been scrape marks going horizontally across the side of the car, but this door was hit the, from the front, just bashed in. either with another car or with a hammer. It would have to be a big sledgehammer. Someone must have hit it in order to pop it open. And there was nothing of value in that car, but it was obviously an out of state car. The license plate said Illinois. So maybe they thought we were tourists who had valuables in the car. Anyway, there we were stuck on the side of the road. All but one other couple had already gone. And so the first thing I did was call the police to report a hit and run. And then I went on the internet and found the car rental place's website with a button that says to call them on the phone and let Brenda, who had rented the car, talk to them. Well, first they wanted us to pay for it, call a tow truck and pay for it to take their car back to them. And Brenda had bought the extra insurance, plus she had, full coverage on her own car at home, which would also cover a rental car. But Fox Car Rentals or Fox Rental Car, whatever they call it, FOX, Fox, had no record of any insurance. So they wanted us to pay for a tow truck and find our own means of getting back to the hotel. There was a lot of discussion. And then after I grabbed the phone and said, "You come get your car," they decided, well, they could send a tow truck, but we would have to stay there and sign up the responsibility so that we would have to pay the tow truck. So I put the police officer on the phone, and he told the car rental place, "You have 24 hours to come get your car before we impound it." So they decided they'd like to tow their car, but they actually wanted us to stand on the side of the road after 10 o'clock at night alone, and they refused to bring a replacement car. So we ended up riding back to the hotel in the back of the police car. Very nice officer, Fort Morgan Police Department, no problem there. But we were without a car for 2 days during the festival. So it's just a nice thing, a very good thing that the people attending were very nice and happy to give us rides. And Henri Wintz of Wide Books drove us to the airport on Sunday, along with Nick Buchanan, who came all the way from London to attend this festival and give a lecture. And I have an excerpt from Nick Buchanan's speech on Facebook. If you are not friends with me, you can still go to Tessa Dick Author or Tessa Dick My Life on the Edge of Reality. Those are pages that you just need to like if you want notifications. You don't have to be my Facebook friend. There, once again, instead of being back at the hotel a little after 9, we got there way past 10. Not much time to wind down and sleep, and we had to be at the festival again at 9 o'clock Saturday morning. So we had to scare up a ride to get there. And I believe we rode with Jan, Jan, a man named Jan. See, in the United States, most people named Jan are women, but in Europe it's just a form of John, and they even pronounce it either John or Jan. But anyway, he was very nice, drove us there. And then when we wanted to go back to the hotel, we went with Manny, who makes chuppers. They're musical instruments inspired by the chuppers in two of Phil's novels. The one is Galactic Pot Healer, and I'm not sure which was the other book. Either The Man Whose Teeth Were All Exactly Alike or one of the other literary novels. Um, in other words, non science fiction, mainstream, all those things that he couldn't get published during his lifetime, even though they're great books. Sure, they're flawed, but so is Stephen King, and he's filthy rich. And Stephen King wouldn't know a sentence if it bit him on the nose or elsewhere. Oh, Peter has the preserves. Awesome. I don't remember what flavor they were. Hi, Philip. Hi, everyone. There's 4 people here now. Wow. Oswald, Peter, Philip, and somebody. And me. Maybe that's who number 4 is. Anyway, not one of you has hit thumbs up. Shame on you. So, Doug Mackey, I had trouble getting videos to post, so many of my videos ended up, I don't know, somewhere in the ether. They didn't post on Facebook or YouTube. And thank you for the thumbs ups. Awesome. Let's see. Let me see if, yeah, I guess you have to have a premium channel to have the really cool emojis. Let me see. On premium channels, you can hit the colon and a word, and there's all kinds of things you can get. Oh, here's a cute unicorn. I like that. I wonder if there's an owl. Here's the kitty cat. And I'd like to see an owl if they have one. Well, let me see if I can get an owl. Maybe my connection's just real slow. Nope, not by typing a word. Don't like food. Here he is. Hold still. Let me click the owl. Thank you. I put a paperweight on Phil's and Jane's grave. It's kind of ovoid or elliptical in shape, and it's a creamy white background with a picture of an owl. I'm trying to remember. I think it's a barn owl. Oh, not quite that many cats. Well, let's see. Well, when Smokey had 4 babies, that makes 5. Smokey plus 4. I also had Tuffy and Cubby, so that's 7, and Tiger, that's 8. But I got homes for 2 of the kittens, so then I had 6 cats, and then my neighbor across the street called me over. There's a kitten living on my porch, and I'm allergic to cats. So I ended up with Snowflake, a long haired, not sure what breed, but she looked like a silver point Siamese, but with long hair like a Persian. She did not have the pug nose of a Persian cat, so I don't know. Probably some kind of mix. But Snowflake was beautiful, so for a while I called her Snowy, but then her behavior became apparent, so her name was changed to Flaky. Any shady CIA shills at PKD Fest? I guess it's possible. Anyway, there I am after Doug Mackey and Nick Buchanan, who the title of his speech was PKD and the Craft of Writing. By the way, if you search on Google for PKD, you'll get polycystic kidney disease. You have to at least write out Phil. Anyway, Nick Buchanan read eventually all of Phil's short story, Explorers We, and it's one of his early attempts to deal with what makes us human and what makes us humane. I don't want to give away too much, but in Explorers We, these astronauts are returning from Mars, and the government meets them and kills them all, and they think they have a good reason for doing that. Uh, you got to read the story. But Nick presented an academic paper that was actually in language that ordinary thinking people could understand, and that actually said something and did not simply show off his fantastic vocabulary. It was a great presentation. Now, Doug Mackey, who came before Nick, his speech was good about the contemporaries of PKD, but I don't think anybody could have followed Nick Buchanan. So, of course, I had to follow Nick. And I was wondering how I could possibly fill a whole 50 minutes. I was supposed to go till 11:30 so people could walk on down to the movie theater and watch Total Recall. Well, the next thing I know, and I've talked a little and I'm answering questions from the audience, and suddenly Dave Hyde comes in and says, I have to cut you off. You're way out of time. But I had agreed to skip the movie because I've seen Total Recall a million times. I have it on DVD. The Arnold Schwarzenegger one, the first film, not the remake. So I stayed behind and did some interviews, and some other people stayed too. One couple, they're not a couple as far as I know, but they're friends and students and, collaborators. They interviewed me here in my hometown last year for a project, a film project. Wow. Anyway, it was really nice. And if I remember correctly, Manny, the maker of Chuppers, and his sister Anita stayed while I was being interviewed. We began the interview across the street at the outdoor tables of a cafe called Cables. But after we ate a little and had some coffee, it was the traffic noise was getting to be much, so we went back to the museum, the library slash museum. Some of the events had been at Morgan Community College, which is also nice. But anyway, um, after that, it was just free time till 6, just to explore Fort Morgan, and it's a great town. But I was a little upset that we didn't have our own car to go wherever we wanted. But we got a ride to Country Stakeout, which is where we had the closing dinner at the first festival. We had our buffet dinner, and I actually drank alcohol because I wasn't driving anyway. I had a fuzzy navel, which is orange juice with peach schnapps, and it's supposed to have a splash of Galliano, but nobody does that anymore. It's just orange juice over ice with some peach schnapps. So I asked for maraschino cherries. They don't charge extra. But anyway, I prefer grenadine over Galliano in my fuzzy navel, but I forgot to ask for it. So I had one alcoholic will drink too much alcohol because they don't know to follow a drink with a glass of water. Alcohol makes you thirsty. Well, anyway, we did our mystery play in which Poirot and his assistant, Captain Hastings from the Agatha Christie novels. Oh, for crying out loud, I had to approve Oswald's post because the idiot robots think that dick is a cuss word. And now some idiot is wrong. Of course, it's a robocall from a telemarketer. If it's important, they can tell my answering machine all about it. Well, if they invented a Philip K. Dick drink, I think it would just have to be single malt scotch. No ice. Neat. That was his favorite, although he did like some of the red California wines. His favorite vineyard was Mondavi, and his favorite wine was the Cabernet Sauvignon. Personally, I prefer Pinot Noir. I guess I better spell that. It's French, so it doesn't have to make sense. Pinot Noir. Noir means black, of course, just like noir film. Pinot, I don't know. Maybe it means pine. I don't remember. A mixed drink, that'd be difficult. It would have to have coffee, maybe Kahlua. Um, what's that? Something on the order of a Black Russian with some little changes to it. That would do. Hello, IB Collectibles. Been here a while, almost 40 minutes, but I can stay. I am taking the day off, and on top of that, the water company is digging in the street out front because, sorry, their pipes have been leaking. So they turned off the water while they repair it, and who knows when they'll finish. But they gave me a few minutes to, sorry, yeah, stock up on drinking water before they shut it off. Anyway, yeah, I think something like a Black Russian Or what other mudslide? Maybe, yeah, but I don't like the name mudslide. It's an interesting drink. It tastes kind of like chocolate, but it'll knock you flat because there's so much alcohol in it. I just had a couple sips of someone else's mudslide. I'm not that brave when it comes to alcohol. Anyway, um, wow, Phil gave up tequila because of the terrible hangovers he got from it. So that's out of the question. Anyway, let's see. So the festival was pretty much over after the mystery play in which Hercule Poirot and Captain Hastings from the Agatha Christie novels were searching for Lord Running-Clam because they wanted to solve the mystery, and I've forgotten what the mystery was. But various people, including me, had short lines to read while Captain Hastings called us on the phone and asked us whether we had seen Lord Running-Clam, the Ganymedean slime mold. Well, anyway, oh yeah, I think it's probably from the Ganymede takeover. But he was also in a short story of Phil's. Anyway, um, so we had Nick Buchanan and Henri Wintz and David. Well, David Hyde was Poirot, and Cameron was Captain Hastings. A number of us read our lines, and they never did find Lord Running-Clam, but oh dear, I've forgotten his name. But somebody said he was probably in the basement of the science building at the university. And, but, he had sent a student down to fetch him, but the student never returned. And he offered to send down a squad of students because students are easily replaced. But nobody ever brought Lord Running-Clam to the phone. I don't know whether you can hear that, but I heard a loud truck going by. I hope they've finished repairing their water line so I can have water. Let's see. Wow. Wow. Now, the Sunday morning breakfast was at the Acapulco Bay restaurant on Main Street, but we skipped it and had our breakfast at the hotel and rode to the airport with Henri Wintz driving and um, Nick Buchanan chatting with us. Now, Nick was leaving at 3 to go home to London. So we all went through TSA together, even though Brenda and I didn't have a flight till 6 p.m. And we had lunch at this nice little wannabe French restaurant. It wasn't really French, but the menu was it had cute French words. but the descriptions of the food were in English. They were a very nice place to sit quietly and eat. And apparently they make their own fig jam, and fig jam is awesome. Oh, wow. I have to admit it does rival my jam, even now when I'm making it from hand picked blackberries. I pick blackberries every August, and I seem to have a bumper crop this year. Well, Peter says Fuzzy Navel was his first legal drink. Well, mine was technically a glass of wine, but the first time I had a drink at a bar, it was, um, well, not a whiskey sour, but it was whiskey Collins. Usually you have a vodka Collins, but Mom drank vodka, so I wanted whiskey. But I paid extra to have Seagram's VO and not what they call a well drink. The bartender has this little area called a well where he keeps all the cheap booze. And this was, oh, come on, 1976. I think, yeah, had to be. 5 or 6, one or the other. And um, I didn't want to drink a cheap $1 drink, so I paid $3 so I could have the good stuff. Of course, I'd had alcohol here and there at home. That was not illegal, but I couldn't buy a drink away from home, whether it was a bottle at a grocery store or a drink at a bar till I was 21. But I had sipped cognac with Phil and a thing called B&B, Benedictine and brandy. And of course, I had had wine with dinner at home, which is not illegal. I don't want to talk about the cheap whiskey Mom gave me one New Year's Eve. I took one sip and put it aside and didn't drink that crap. Now, I did learn to like a Harvey Wallbanger. You start with a screwdriver, vodka and orange juice, and then you add grenadine, and it tastes kind of like bubble gum. But I prefer the Fuzzy Navel because there's less alcohol, so I don't get drunk. You don't want to see me drunk, and I don't want to see me drunk. I just like a little buzz sometimes if I'm not driving. Oh, cool little animals here. I found a unicorn before. Where'd he go? There he is. Oh, come on. I can't scroll to the unicorn without him going right past me. Come on. Here we go. Well, anyway, where was I? Oh, yeah, Sunday. So we go in through TSA at 3, have lunch with Nick. Our flight isn't till 6, and I'm thinking, what if we have another long delay and the flight itself is almost 3 hours? You land at LAX in 2.5 hours, but you're so far from the terminal that they have to slowly taxi to it. I'm a cigarette smoker. I had already gone over 6 hours on the way to the festival because of flight delays. I just tried my best to sleep while sitting in the airplane on the tarmac. The pilot had to circle around twice because he was just about at his place in line when they pulled him out because of the storm in Denver. It wasn't clear enough yet to land in Denver, so we had to circle the whole airport again and get a different slot in the line to take off. Eventually, we made it to Fort Morgan, but I was thinking, I am not going to survive again. So I actually went back outside. And at Denver International, you don't just find a door and go outside. You take an escalator and another escalator and a train. And then you still can't see where the door is. So I went to the information desk and showed them my cigarette and said, "Where can I get outside?" And they copped an attitude. But I went outside and had a cigarette. And I carry my own portable ashtray so I don't have to litter. But I was able to put it out and drop it in a trash barrel after it was no longer burning. Peter wants to know what brand of cigarettes. Well, Camel filters, but only because I can't afford to import Dunhills from England. And I'm constantly cutting down because they're getting so expensive. When I started smoking, a pack of cigarettes was 25 cents. And if you bought a carton, it was $2 for 10 packs, which came to 20 cents a pack. And on top of that, I was already hooked on cigarettes just from having two parents who chain smoked at home and didn't open the windows. They did that in the car too. So anyway, Camel filters. Let's see if there's a camel in here. Come on. Come on, evil mouse. Scroll down slowly. I don't see a camel. That's food. I see a lobster. All kinds of birds and cute little squirrel. Paw prints. Horsies. Come on. Scroll up without losing it. Okay, monkeys, dogs, fox, wolf, lion, tiger, horses. Well, Oswald found the camel. It would help if it were alphabetical at least. Come on, come on. I can't get it to scroll slowly and not stop and not go right past things. There's the owl. I give up. Oh, here's one. There we go. Two camels. Camels. A dromedary and a Bactrian. I always forget which one is which. It goes by how many humps they have. Let's see. Bactrian camel has two humps. So the dromedary has one hump. Okay. You know what they tell me is that in Egypt, you can get on a camel real cheap and ride around on the camel. But when you want to get down, it'll cost you. Anyway, let's see. The festival was awesome, and the people there were awesome. And our flight home was not delayed, but I still think it was worth it to get outside and smoke a cigarette, even though it involved two escalators, a train, and then asking, "Where's the door to outside?" Then I got to spend the night with my family, my brother Steve and his wife Betty, before coming up the mountain. Seeing as how we got to his house around 11, there's no point in driving up a mountain in the middle of the night. Now, I used to do that, but I knew the road. You don't ask friends and family who are not familiar with it to drive up a mountain at night, even though we do have a decent highway. It's a steep uphill with lots of curves and sometimes with idiots driving, sharing the road with you. So, chocolate. Anyway, Steve and Betty drove me home the next day, and we got to go to a local coffee shop called Higher Grounds. It's owned by the Baptist Church, so it's kind of a cute name, Higher Grounds. Now, if you think Starbucks is good, you have another think coming. Higher Grounds is 10 tons better than Starbucks, and I think they're more affordable. Let's see. Well, that isn't really coffee, it's a malt. There's got to be a coffee cup in the food section. There's donuts. Oh, here we go. No, that's a honey pot. Well, I guess a teacup will do. Someone's at the door again.
Hello?
Hang on. Hello. I'm on YouTube Live. You want to say hello to my adoring fans?
Oh my.
This is our local reporter and historian,
Hello, how are you doing?
Ria Francis. She drives me places when I don't want to ask Catherine, because Ria knows the good places to go and enjoys going there. Catherine sits in the car and waits. Oh my God, smoked peanuts?
Yes,
Interesting. Where'd these come from?
the store.
Why?
My husband bought them, then didn't like them.
Oh, well, I'm not wearing my teeth, but they smell good.
They do.
Ooh, nice.
Okay. Well, hope you're having a good day.
So
What are you
far,
talking about on
well,
Facebook Live?
I'm down to just kind of chatting now. I talked about the festival. Let me.
Well, you know this coming. I know nobody here is a local, but we're having a fantastic festival coming up this weekend.
Oh
in
yeah.
town. And
Just show them the schedule. I don't know if you can actually read that on the screen. I guess it depends on whether you have a real computer and whether all my videos on Facebook are backwards. They're mirror images of what I was seeing. But anyway, that's the schedule for Friday.
fantastic.
Yeah. By the way, I didn't like Acapulco Bay Restaurant. The food was decent, the service was great, but there were flies buzzing around our table.
Oh, that's no fun. But if you go to Acapulco, that is true too.
I don't think the flies came from outside.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, when I was in Acapulco, I found lots of flies to be there.
And I don't know whether my water's back on yet. Oh,
Does not look like
Sleepy
it.
Dave is here.
Does not look like it. They got the hole in
See?
the ground outside.
Sleepy Dave.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Time to wake up.
He's
Sleepy
one of
Dave.
my adoring fans.
Oh. Anyway, that's what I came for.
Oh,
Just to bring you peanuts.
let me see if they've turned the water back on
I
yet.
doubt it. They're still making holes out there in the ground.
They said they found the leak. They warned me. Yeah, there's no water.
There should be no water. They haven't turned it on yet. I'm pretty sure, since
Yeah,
there's
well,
still a big hole in the
They
ground.
warned me so I could stock up.
Here you go.
Just
Enjoy,
looking for my
enjoy.
pocket. Well, thank you.
Okay, well, have fun.
I'm trying to remember who Peter Johnson is. He has my jam, I know that.
Fantastic. I love your jam, too.
But if he's local, he should go to all the. It's tomorrow night, right? Russ Keller's speech? Thursday. Okay.
Thursday, Russ Keller, Samaras Lodge, talking about Crestline, the swingingest town in America. And he gives a criteria for being the swingingest town. And then he fulfills the answer as to whether it is or is not.
And it's free.
It's a free event.
Will there be cupcakes again?
I have no idea, although it does say on the poster, SB's Delicious Cupcakes.
Yeah.
So,
anyway,
have fun.
Thank you. I'll see you Thursday for sure.
Definitely, I'll be there. You be there, be square.
Okay. That was nice. People bring me things and take me places. Even if you aren't local, you can come visit these mountains. Crestline is more of a summer resort. Sleepy Dave went to the docks. Is that like documents or like next to the ocean? Even if you are not local, you should visit Crestline in the summer when we have all kinds of cool events. Most of them are free. Many of them are cheap. I'm so tired. And wow, people here, for the most part, are so nice. When and I'm sorry I've forgotten their names, but these graduate students came to interview me and film me. My house simply is not fit for that. I have to get tons of stuff out of here and gone, and I guess store a couple thousand of my books, or sell or donate some. I always think I ought to read them first. But anyway, a local shop called Bizzy Land, Bizzy Land, let us use their secret garden where it's outdoors, but it's all enclosed like a courtyard. And they do special events there, like wedding ceremonies. It's really cool. And it didn't cost us anything, they just let us do it. Root cause. Oh, doctors. Well, let's say a few prayers for Sleepy Dave's daughter, who and for Sleepy Dave. Yes, I have been suffering from chronic nausea and vomiting for 2 years, and all the doctor wants to do is x-ray my lungs and give me a flu shot. Well, I'm sorry, but that isn't going to help. Okay, but you took your daughter to the doctor for something. Well, let's just say prayers for everyone here because we all need it. You'd like to bring the doctor to visit me? The doctor will be sorry. I have so much frustration with doctors. Ah, wow. I'm about talked out, and we've been going over an hour. Okay, you went to the doctor, but your daughter needs you, so we need to pray that her daddy gets well and all that stuff. I know when I was little, I was never as upset when I was hurt as I was when daddy was hurt. My dad broke his back. Well, we were here in these mountains where I live now, and dad, my brother Steve, and I went down the hill on a toboggan. Dad came back up on a stretcher. We hit probably a boulder under the snow, maybe a log, but probably a gigantic rock. And the toboggan went airborne. And Dad said his back was broken as soon as we hit that, whatever it was under the snow. That really, really was awful. But because he was doing uh, sheet metal work in a factory and his broken back just wasn't allowing him to do it anymore, Dad went to college and became an accountant. So, oh, Arizona. There is a Greyhound from Phoenix to San Bernardino, but you don't want to hang around the bus station in San Bernardino. You need to like get your suitcases and go down the street to a nicer part of the business district and then hail a cab or catch a bus. Maybe someday I'll visit my granddaughter in Scottsdale, which might as well be Phoenix, but it'll have to be in the winter because I can't stand that heat. Okay, see you later, Oswald. And I'm gonna wrap it up pretty soon. I'm just exhausted, but the festival was excellent. I gotta say one more thing about United Airlines. They were very good on both flights, but in Los Angeles at LAX, we had a hard landing. And I'm not sure what caused it, but the pilot handled it expertly. There was a big thump on one side of the plane. It actually began to turn a little bit, and the pilot corrected the course. This is as soon as our wheels touched, so we were still decelerating. And a bunch of the overhead compartments popped open, but the pilot made sure that we were, all safe and um, got us to the terminal. But I'm betting that the landing gear had a blowout in at least one of the tires when we landed. I think that's what happened. So kudos to the pilot for keeping us safe. Okay, you would want to drive your own car. Well, I have people here who drive me around. That's not a big deal. And the bus service isn't too bad locally. They've been improving it. But frankly, I'm a bit of a hermit, a recluse. I don't like to go very far from home. And I never would have survived going to Denver on an airplane if Brenda hadn't been there to make sure I didn't get lost, didn't miss the flight, didn't lose my luggage, etc. But I hate TSA. First, Brenda was wearing a long skirt, so they decided they had to do a pat down in case she was hiding something under her skirt. Second, I had a roll of quarters in my coin purse. The x ray person pulled my whole tub of belongings out and made me wait and wait and wait while various suitcases and things were checked for contraband. For a roll of quarters? What did she think it was? Criminy. Anyway, I hate TSA. I hate the fact that once you get through TSA, there is no place to smoke a cigarette, and that would be okay, but they won't allow you to vape either. I have an e cigarette, but that isn't allowed either. I don't know. If you're wealthy and you can go to a private lounge to wait for your jet, you can smoke and drink and whatever. But I'm one of the plebes flying economy class, and even then the festival had to pay for my flight. I'm really broke, and I'm glad they made it possible for me to go to the festival. It is an awesome festival. They'll probably do it again in about 2 years. And if you can possibly go, you really need to attend a Philip K. Dick festival. They're awesome. And the people are wonderful. Yes, Sleepy Dave, praise Jesus. So you love Scottsdale and you live in Scottsdale. Okay. My son stayed there for 2 years to go to motorcycle school in Phoenix. I attended his graduation in June in Phoenix. Oh my. Good thing I had a good supply of quarters to keep buying things to drink from the vending machines. Oh, yeah, I remember too. Airplanes had smoking sections, but even though I smoked cigarettes, I really had a problem with it. I would sit in the smoking section and never light a cigarette because all I had to do was breathe. And I'm sure that it was bothering the non smokers. But in an airport, there's no excuse for not having a place where you can smoke a cigarette. But they don't have one. You have to stand outside on the stinky street, especially in Los Angeles. It's stinky. At least from what I saw, there aren't any homeless people sleeping on the sidewalk at the airport. Thank you, Sleepy Dave. Yes, I'm glad I got to go. I'm glad I had a good time. I was so impressed with Best Western, the motel, that I went ahead and joined their rewards club because if I ever need a motel again, it's going to be Best Western. The festival paid for that too. But it is awesome. You'd swear you were in a high end hotel and not a motel. Well, I'm glad your parents are able to help you, Sleepy Dave. My parents are been gone, got old. I hope they went to heaven. When I visited my son at his house in Scottsdale, I could take a shower without ever turning on the hot water because the cold water never got cold. I washed dishes just with what was supposed to be cold water in June. Well, international flights have smoking areas. That's good to know. But even so, I might need to visit Europe, and I just can't imagine 8 hours or more on a flight with no smoking unless I set out around 10 at night so I can sleep the whole way. You flew to Germany, huh? Military? Or whatever. I am so tired. I am so glad to see all of you here. And I'm glad in many ways that smoking is not allowed at the bank, on the airplane, on the bus, it's or in the post office or in places where people eat. But some fools are going so far as to say you cannot smoke when you sit outside at the outdoor tables of a restaurant. First the smokers get kicked outside and then they can't smoke there either. There are towns in California where you cannot smoke in your car if you have a child in the car. That might be okay. But there are apartment complexes where you cannot smoke in your apartment, and other apartment complexes where you cannot smoke outside your apartment. It's crazy, and it isn't helping. It's, cigarettes are more addictive than heroin. If you think a junkie fiends for another fix, you ought to see a smoker who can't light up. Now, that once again would be okay if they'd allow me to use the e cig, but I get no joy from patches, mint, gum, or lozenges. They don't do it for me. It's a whole different thing. That just delivers nicotine. I want the whole package. And since all of our taxes, well, I guess cigarettes are not as expensive here as in New York, but they're close to it. The Camel filters run between $8 and $12 a pack. And if I had my way, I'd go through a pack every day, but obviously I can't afford that. And it's still legal. I'm not buying them off of some drug dealer on the street, but it's going to get to that point, isn't it? Where you can't have a cigarette without breaking the law. I'm glad when people don't start smoking. But frankly, it's really painful to quit, and I'm not into pain. When I broke my leg, after about a week, I threw out the pain pills. Well, disposed of them properly, but I realized that they were going to get me addicted. I was already having withdrawals between doses, and I didn't need another addiction. Coffee and cigarettes are legal and non prescription so far. I don't need to get hooked on it on Vicodin or whatever opiate or opioid. I quit taking when I was in high school, mom got the doctor to put me on tranquilizers. I gave those up cold turkey, no problem. Well, I was kind of shaking for a few hours. Cigarettes? I've gone close to a week and simply could not stand it anymore. It is the worst. Addictions to heroin and things like that, your worst symptoms last 3 days. Cigarettes, it never goes away. You can be a, a non smoker for 10 years and you still find yourself moving closer when someone else is smoking so you can breathe it in too. Too many chiefs, not enough Indians. Oh, wow. So, Germany was your bucket list. Yeah, I love Best Western. Yeah, well, here in California, the Indians don't make their cigarettes cheap for um, white folk or black folk or anyone who isn't a member of the tribe. And they make a fortune on their casinos. But California has some deal where even if you buy your smokes on the reservation, if you are not a member of the tribe, the politicians in Sacramento get their taxes. I really need to escape. I'm California born and raised and never escaped. Never quite managed it. But for now, I do love this mountain. If I ever have to leave the mountain, I'm leaving California. So, anyway, all of you have a blessed evening. Oh, yeah, pain pills make me sick too. I have to take a second pill to stop the vomiting. So, can you imagine having to, first off, buy drugs on the street, and second, find some kind of over the counter medicine to stop the vomiting? I don't know what would happen with an injection. I hate shots, so I will never go there. I've even put off cataract surgery on my eyes because you have to have a shot in the arm to knock you out. So, anyway, I'm waiting for the water company to to finish fixing their pipes so they can turn my water back on. The opioids. Now, what I do for pain, by the way, is an ice pack and a heating pad. Sometimes I use Bengay or Aspercreme or mineral ice, but I don't even try to find pills to kill the pain. The Vicodin, by the way, didn't really stop the pain. I could still feel the pain, but I didn't care because I was so loopy. But it was dangerous too because my leg was in this brace, so I couldn't even bend my knee because I had injured my knee as well. And That plus being on Vicodin made me so unsteady on my feet that I really couldn't walk without risking further injury by falling down. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up now. Oh, IB Collectibles gave up trying to escape from California. It's like the Eagles song Hotel California. Well, all the places I loved when I was growing up are not there anymore. The signs have the same names, but they are not the same towns. Like Culver City, Helms Bakery's building is still there, but they don't have their bakery and their Helms trucks delivering bread and donuts and stuff. MGM Studios is now Sony, and Fox, 20th Century Fox, is now Disney Pixar. Century City wasn't there when I was a kid. I don't know what they knocked down in order to build it. I don't know. And Anaheim, where I have lived from time to time, is not the same. When I was a child, I could go to Disneyland for $2, and then they raised it to $2.50, and then it was $3. You had to buy tickets to go on a ride, but you could get in if you were under 18 for just a couple bucks. Knott's Berry Farm, I hear, isn't too bad, but I wish they hadn't gone to amusement park rides. I wish they had kept their Old West theme with just the stagecoach and the mule rides. They don't have the mule rides anymore. The haunted house was okay. It was more fun. It wasn't really scary. Oh, it was a haunted shack. They would roll a ball down the ball was rolling downhill, but the way everything was set up, it looked like it was rolling uphill. Stuff like that. I never did get to eat at their chicken dinner restaurant or even have their boysenberry pies. Oh well, now you can buy their pies frozen at the market and heat them up at home. And you can buy Knott's Berry Farm jams and stuff. Oh, and by the way, I make my jam with a lot less sugar than the store bought stuff, and I never put corn syrup in it. Never. That seems like sacrilege to me. Corn syrup is cheap, and they claim it's pretty bad for your health. Sleepy Dave hasn't been here in 20 years. Lucky you. On the other hand, I cannot stand the heat in Arizona. San Pedro, that's not a bad place. Well, corn syrup has its uses, but I don't want to load it up in everything just to make it sweet. Not worth it. Sugar is better. Yeah, I imagine, and maybe northern Arizona, way up north. Is that Prescott that's up north in the mountains? What spice was in the jam? Well, Peter, it's mostly cinnamon. There's a little bit of clove, and depending on the flavor, sometimes I add Chinese five spice, which is like cloves and star anise and a couple other things. Yeah. But I taste test every batch, so it isn't necessarily exactly the same recipe. I try to keep the flavor consistent, but I have to do it by testing the flavor while I'm cooking it because I use real fruit, like my hand picked blackberries, and every batch of fruit is slightly different from any other. However, I do use a lot of cinnamon, a lot. That's why my jam is better than mom's. She never put cinnamon in it. Oh gosh, I really gotta go, guys. Oh yeah, everybody likes cinnamon, and it's good for your health. It lowers cholesterol naturally. It calms people when they're nervous or agitated or upset. Cinnamon is calming. That's the cool thing about cinnamon rolls. You can always say it's your form of tranquilizer, natural, nature's tranquilizer. I'm glad you like my jam, Peter. I'm really gotta call it a day. I'll be on YouTube more often. I'm glad you like my live streams, and I will do them more often. I probably will not be on Blog Talk anymore. I'm tired of all the glitches with their software. They really are making me want to switch maybe to Spreaker or some other platform that doesn't have all these glitches. Okay, and let's see, have a wonderful evening. Uh, just wondering if, oh, it'll let me search emojis. Okay. No emoji found for sleepy, huh? Activities, maybe that'll do it. Nope. Let's see. Okay. People. People. SLE. No sleepy. Uh, nope. Okay. Catch you guys later. Bye bye.